So you heard about this Will Smith thing?
Yes, I have heard about the Will Smith thing.
How do you feel about that?
If the guy, the protagonist, if you will, in the whole situation didn't have a new album coming out, I would probably take it a little bit more seriously. But as soon as I learned that he has an album coming out, I blew it off.
You think this is all just a publicity stunt?
Yes. What is the
Great.
Smith family known for? I mean, what else do they have going for them right now? They need to drum up some drama. There's two main things that are in this whole entire argument. One, that Guy August's new album coming out, and two, Will Smith and Jada Pinkett's Facebook show. They're both everybody involved is gonna benefit from this. I don't know if it may have some truth behind it, but if it was as big as a drama as people are playing it up to be, there wouldn't be an album on its way out, and it would not have been addressed on their Facebook show.
If it weren't, his album dropping, it'd be something else. There's always something.
Okay, if this was so long ago, why did he wait till now to say anything about it? Because he has an album coming out.
I don't know. I thought he was just in some interview
about his album.
Right, but he wouldn't be in an interview any other reason than for an album.
Right. So when you're in an interview,
I don't know.
This is the way that I'm looking at it. You can totally look at it a different way.
Will Smith wants to have that on his record,
drama
just for publicity.
Drama sells.
Sure.
I'm telling you, man, drama sells.
I mean, you're right, but also, I don't know.
It's not going to tarnish having any type of sexual misconduct allegations or stepping out of your marriage or anything like that nowadays doesn't ruin your career. It makes careers.
No.
Kardashians. Bottom line.
It does hurt her career potentially.
No, she's got more money than Jesus at this point. She don't care. She was without Will. She got back with Will. Everybody went their separate ways. No one's going to get hurt by this situation. It's publicity.
Sure. I don't know.
That's the way how do you view it?
I think my man got roasted.
Who, Will or August?
Will. I think they took a break, right? They're like, let's just take a break and find ourselves. And she slept with this little young twink guy and got some good dick in and then came back to Will. I don't know. It doesn't look good on Will, although he does look like the patron saint right now. Everyone's like, oh, poor Willie.
Let me ask you this. Have you ever heard of this guy August prior to all of this?
No.
Boom! Success!
True. I'm not going out of my way to listen to his album, though.
No, you're not. But other people that are knuckle dragging jagaloons that are quarantined because of the coronavirus and ain't got nothing else to do and they're tired of their Pornhub accounts, they're going to say, I want to go listen to this dude who dicked down Jada. And that's exactly
true.
what they're going to do. And guess who's going to win at the end of that? He is.
That's true.
He picked his timing perfectly.
I didn't realize Jada Pinkett, or Jada Pinkett Smith now.
Jada Pinkett Smith.
Yeah.
John Jacobs Jingleheimer Smith. His name is my name too.
I didn't realize that she was with Tupac.
Will got some skeletons in the closet too, and I think those skeletons got a couple of dangles in between their legs, and that's the reason why they're still in the closet. It's been a long time myth.
You think he's fucking boys?
Will has dabbled in the dingle.
Heimer Schmidt.
His name is my name too.
Well, Cory just came out. Let's start the show.
5, 6, 7, 8.
What is up, boys? I am Jake. That is Cory. This is the Jake and Cory podcast. How you doing, Cory?
I am doing, Jake.
What are you doing, man?
Right now, I just reached for my water bottle that happens to be ribbed for her pleasure.
Oh, wow. That would fit up some, never mind.
Yeah, it's a serious water bottle.
So, what's new, man? How's your week been since last time I heard from you?
Busy.
Yeah, what you been up to?
Well, I kind of don't want to, I can't really say.
Just some projects, eh?
Some projects. And I can't really say because I don't want to fuck up my timeline.
Sure. I kind of know about your projects, but
You do, but please don't spill the beans because we don't want to fuck up the timeline.
But this just gets everyone thinking, you know?
It really does.
Yeah,
and it's been a very deep, work heavy laden project. I'm loving it, and I've been using the compression settings that you gave me on pretty much everything. It's making everything sound so much better.
And then people listen to this show and they're like, those compression settings? Ugh.
Well, I don't know. Maybe my settings are a little different, but all I know is I'm looking for threshold and ratios everywhere. Where's a threshold? Where's a ratio? You're going to -10. You're going to 3.1.
you're like Oprah with ratios.
You get a ratio. You get a ratio. You get a ratio.
Actually, your voice is perfect. We'll leave no ratios. No compression.
No
You're
compression.
perfect.
No, dude, shit. People hear me on these shows and they're like, man, Cory has a great voice, and then they meet me in person and they're like, who the fuck are you? You're not the same guy. Or they get a personal phone call from me and they're like, oh, this is what you sound like without all of those fancy microphones.
They're like, wait, you're a guy?
Yeah. They're like, we thought you were some dude that was stuffed in a Will Smith's closet the whole time.
Dude, that's so true. Like, I've listened to a few radio stations. There's the famous guys in Arizona, the John Jay and Rich. I think they're across the nation, actually. Yeah. John Jay and Rich. Have you ever seen them in person?
Uh-huh.
Oh God, they look
nothing like their voices.
They look scary.
They are
they look like thumbs. They're weird.
I've met them a couple of times. They're nice guys, or they were nice to me. But they have been in the radio game for quite some time. And if you talk to anybody that's been in the radio game for some time, you get a little beat down, you get a little worn, you get a little robotic. You know, when you've done pretty much everything under the sun, from a promotions event at a used car lot to a promotions event outside of a CVS store. You know, you get a little worn down, you get a little beat down and so forth, you know what I mean? But they make a great, they have a huge following here in the state of Arizona, and they are on the station that is a partner with my radio show, Fat Guy Radio Show, KTAR.
Oh, so I shouldn't talk shit about their show then.
You can express your opinion the way that you feel you express your opinion. I will express mine the way I feel that I should express mine.
Yeah, their show is shit. But anyway.
Oh, God. Jesus.
I also listen to Conan O'Brien's podcast, and he has he has like a producer who like talks every once in a while, and I thought it was like just some young dude. This guy looks like a 45-year-old dad. I saw a picture of him recently. I'm like, what the hell? It's so crazy.
People say the same thing about my executive producer.
D-Tay.
Oh, no, I'm kidding.
Am I the only one who calls him D-Tay?
No, everybody calls him D-Tay. Who calls him Daniel?
You call him Daniel on the show.
I do not call him Daniel on the show. My little brother's name is Daniel. That's why I don't call anybody on Fat Guy Radio Show. No, everybody has a nickname. I can't. They're all D's.
How come I never got a nickname? What the hell?
Daniel, Doug. You do have a nickname, but you reject it.
What, Sweet Cheeks?
No, Skippy Love Puppy. No, your nickname is the $20 is on the nightstand. That's your nickname.
Yeah.
You know?
At least when I was on the show, inflation's happened. I'm up to 25 now.
Oh, 25 now. I'm willing to pay 30. Here's the thing is that my everybody on my show has got D's. That was funny. I cracked myself up. It's horrible when you laugh at your own damn jokes, but everybody on my show has D's, Daniel, Doug, and Daniel. So everybody has to have a nickname. D-Tay, D-A, and Little D. And I still get them confused. I don't know who the fuck they are.
Do you have a D somewhere in your name?
I do not have a D
name?
anywhere. I do not have a D anywhere in my name.
What's your middle name?
I don't have a middle name according to reports. According to the rules that I've made up in my own mind, I do not have a middle name.
My middle name has a D in it. It's Dick.
I know what your middle name is.
Go ahead. Take a guess.
Delicious.
Oh, there it is. Keep everyone guessing. But I will give out my social security number.
And your home address, please.
Yes. So in this show, I wanted to talk about conspiracy theories. How do you feel about conspiracy theories?
I'm on board with most of them, but sometimes my mind's eye of just common sense kind of kicks in and overrides the conspiracy theories. But I will say this, that I do lend ear to people that have substantial facts for conspiracy theory.
Yeah, I think sometimes it's important to hear conspiracy theories. There's two that are big right now. Because, I mean, if you look at it this way, before Epstein was caught, he was just a conspiracy theory. And that turned out to be real. So, I mean, you got to keep in mind, sometimes these things are real, but a lot of times they're not. I mean, look at Alex Jones. That guy lives his whole career off of telling fake conspiracy theories, which is a shame because I'm sure he said some things that are legit. And now if Alex Jones says them, they're just fake. So, like,
where is the best place? This is how I think about conspiracy theories. Where is the best place to hide the truth? But out in the open. If you put the truth out in the open, the mind gives you a relief of the truth, no matter how fucked up it may be. So if you can hide it in plain sight, and coerce people to believe that it's not the truth, there you have the conspiracy. So conspiracy theories in itself, like with the Epstein situation, proved itself to be true. Where else would you hide the truth but in plain sight? The biggest thing you can do from anybody that's trying to cover something up is to uncover it and leave it there, and people that read it will draw their own conclusions.
Yeah, that's true. That's interesting you say leave it in plain sight, because
hiding in plain sight is the saying. Hide it in plain sight.
Because one of the conspiracy theories I wanted to bring up was this Wayfair conspiracy theory. Have you heard about this? I
am familiar with this, and we may or may not have discussed it on another show, but I am interested to hear what you have to say about it.
Oh, really? Okay.
We source our show prep from the same system, so yeah,
I guess.
And this is the first time in history that we've had the same topic to discuss.
Yeah, well, this isn't the main one I wanted to talk about. We'll just spend a little bit of time on it.
A little lead in.
Because I feel like maybe in the future we'll cover more on Wayfair if more comes out about it. But right now it's a little touch and go. But basically on Wayfair is like a website. It's like Amazon, but like cheap products, I guess.
Wayfair has got just what you need.
Yeah, I had never heard of Wayfair before.
I've heard of Wayfair. I've never used them. I went to use them one time through a Facebook ad, and when I clicked on it, I couldn't see any of their products. I couldn't see anything that they offered until I gave them my email address, and I said, "Go fuck yourself."
Yeah.
I said, "You're not getting my personal information, so you can continue to bombard my email, my inbox with your bullshit after I go in there and see your bullshit."
That's why I have an email just for things like that.
Yeah, I ain't got that much time.
Yeah, it's like my high school email I don't use anymore, so anything I have to put an email into, I'll just put that one. So then if they send me spam and shit, I don't even check it.
There you go.
Yeah, Wayfair, basically, they're like cheap Amazon, essentially, I guess, is their whole business model. But recently, someone noticed that there were these, like, filing cabinets, or just cabinets, that were, like, going for, like, 20 grand. And then they had, like, names on each of them, but they were all, like, the same stock photo. And then there were, like, pillows that were going for, like, 15 grand. With like kids' names. There was one that said Epstein 9 on it.
Making it look like it was like the manufacturer or the designer of the item.
Right. And then people were like, huh, that's weird. And then like people started making connections like some of these names line up with missing children's reports. And then people were also like, isn't it interesting that Wayfair donates beds to the Border Patrol, where on record they've lost over like 3,000 kids there, just like kids that are just undocumented and just lost. So little fishy. And then like a picture came out of the CEO of Wayfair with Epstein's girlfriend, who now just got arrested recently because apparently she was working closely with Epstein. Yeah, so it's sort of weird. I also saw a definition. Waif, I guess, is a word that means like a hostage or prisoner, and passport and fair is like it's a fair. You know what fair means. So waif, fair. Yeah. Interesting.
Very interesting.
Yeah. So
you did a deeper dive than I did.
Yeah. People are like, what is this $20,000 dresser? And then every news report now is like, it's fake. It's not real, because the CEO came out and said it's not real. So it's obviously not real. That's been the reporting on it. I'm not sure I fully buy it.
Hide it in plain sight.
But yeah, there's something weird and fishy about it. It's all too weird. They quickly pulled all that stuff down. The thing that's weird about it, so like their excuse, a couple people's excuses is like, instead of getting rid of the listing when you don't have a product, you just raise the price to a ridiculous amount. So then
no one will buy it.
No one will buy it, and you don't have to pull the listing because that's a pain in the ass apparently. So that's like one excuse for it. But then it's like, how come they all have these like same stupid looking stock photos and these weird names, like
names of missing children?
And then people are like, yeah, what, you think they're just sending dressers with kids in them? And I'm like, no, I don't think that's how it's going. I think that's just how you like purchase it, and then they'll contact you and you'll figure out shipping some other way. Like, I think that's just how they launder the money in, if anything. You know what I mean? So I don't know.
That's the way that it kind of plays out. Now, are you familiar with the additional aspect of this Wayfair thing that ties to Gilbert, Arizona?
No, please elaborate.
So there was a couple in Gilbert, Arizona that took the conspiracy that you just explained and purchased one of these items for the exuberant amount of money. I think it was $17,000, right? Because they believed that this conspiracy is true. So they went on Wayfair, purchased something for $17,000 that had the name of a missing child. And they fucked up the whole process. It would have been a beautifully executed covert operation if after they sent the money, the 17 grand, they didn't go to their Instagram and post a 15-minute story about it. So they didn't even wait to see what they got. And they ruined the whole entire process on trying to blow the cover of this thing because they couldn't keep it in their pants. So now this Gilbert couple, they went on Wayfair, paid $17,000 for an item that had one of these missing child's names tied to it. It looked like it went through like a normal transaction on Wayfair. And then they went and boasted about it on Instagram. And of course, the item immediately got ripped down when the news media picked it up. And the couple, if they would, they're of course never going to receive anything. No one knows what's happened to their money. But they went in trying to blow the lid off the conspiracy, and they fucked it up because they couldn't keep their mouth shut. If they would have just waited until the little Negro boy arrived in the box, then they probably would have been able to add some validity to it, but they just couldn't keep it in their pants. Idiots. So if it was true, they were trying to debunk it, and they weren't able to. And then Snopes.com came out and said that it's all 100% a farce.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think even if they did purchase it, wouldn't their bank card be like, what's this $17,000 thing that you just
Not
put on
if they're
it?
one of those couples that drops money like that on
I
things.
guess
you know
you're
what I
right.
mean? You
But also,
definitely
like,
can do that if it's not outside of your spending.
I imagine that like Wayfair would contact you if you spent that money too, and they'd be like, hey, they probably have some sort of code word or something.
Or they end up shipping the item that they bought. Let's say it's an ottoman. They end up receiving the ottoman, and then somewhere in the ottoman are the instructions on where to go get the little Negro boy.
Maybe.
Who knows? But we won't know now.
Yeah.
And now
there's
that
no way to know.
now that it's a conspiracy that's out there, and all those items have been taken down, and you know what? I think it's bullshit that you just inflate the price to something ridiculously overpriced just because you don't want to delete it.
Yeah.
If people didn't delete things, I mean, dude, Craigslist has an algorithm where when you post something up, if it doesn't sell in a certain period of time, it gets deleted anyway.
Yeah.
So why would you? I can't buy that for a second.
But and also people were like, well, Wayfair is like Amazon and they have third-party sellers like Amazon. But everything that everyone posted were like first-party sellers. They were all from Wayfair. So that
Right,
whole
'cause
third-party
Amazon
seller
has-
thing is bullshit.
I think so too, because Amazon has warehouses throughout the country, throughout the world, where they stock items up, even third-party items. Well, you can have a business on Amazon and pre-ship your items to Amazon's warehouses according to your statistics and your metrics on where your items are selling. You can pre-ship your items to an Amazon warehouse. That way your items become prime, because Amazon only offers prime items that they have in their warehouses. You can't get something shipped to you prime if it's coming from Nurse Betty in, Walla Walla, Washington.
Right.
So
Yeah.
if it's Wayfair first party items, that's definitely 100% Wayfair.
Yeah, it's weird. It's also weird that every news article is just like quick to be like, yeah, it's fake. How can you say it's fake? I mean, I can understand you saying like, yeah, it's probably not true, but there's no way to really know. That makes sense. But just to outright say it's fake, I mean, who knows,
You hide it in plain sight and then you tell everybody it's a lie.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, I don't really have much more to say about that, but I have another conspiracy I'd love to talk about.
Sure.
Do you know about the famous singer Britney Spears?
Oh, baby, baby, how was I supposed to know? You were beside me. I did some crack rock and then I tried to smoke my toes. It didn't go up my nose. Oh, baby, baby. Yeah, I'm familiar with the bitch.
With the bitch.
No, I don't nothing Britney Spears, but isn't she stupid like, what is his name? Cody Simpson?
I don't know who she's stooping these days.
I think she's stooping Cody Simpson at this point,
Well,
and they
so
had there was some video that was up on TikTok or something where they were dancing and stuff like that.
There's a movement going on right now called Freebritney.
Oh, Lord.
So I've got a really long thread here that we're gonna read this whole thing. It's gonna take a while.
Okay.
And we could stop and, just hold on one sec. Guys, you guys gotta get out. I'm sorry, hold on.
We'll fix this in editing.
Yeah, I will. Evie, you gotta get out,
dude. They're so cute, though.
They are.
They're adorable. They love their Uncle Jakey.
No, I have video games in here. That's why they want to be in here.
Oh, yeah, that explains it.
All right. Anyway, so there's a movement, Free Britney.
And she is seeing Cody Simpson. I just verified that.
Okay. So I've got a long document here I found online, and we could stop at any moment and just, make some remarks about it. But I'd like to read the whole thing because I find it very interesting. So here we go. It says,
Hit it.
Free Britney. PSA on Britney Spears. And if the hashtag Free Britney movement for anyone that needs or wants more information on what is going on with her. It's a fucking rabbit hole, so buckle up. A little backstory first. Britney was a child star, starting at the age of 4 years old on Broadway, and then worked her way to the Mickey Mouse Club, and eventually the solo career we know today. Her career has been on an autopilot her entire life. If you look back at her music, she's been telling everyone for years she's too controlled and treated as a product. If you listen to the lyrics of most of her hits, examples include Lucky, Overprotected, My Prerogative, Circus, Piece of Me, or Gimme More. Her music videos, social media posts, tour props, and photo shoots regularly show her in a cage or in chains. If anyone has ever seen videos of her when she was younger, you'd know her real singing voice is very similar to Christina Aguilera's. Her record label didn't like it, as they were both on the Mickey Mouse Club and about to release their debut albums at the same time, so they had her voice restrained to sing in the baby voice we all know today, because they believed it to be more iconic and would create a brand and career for her instead of her real voice. It's unhealthy, and it's been destroying her voice over the years, thus why she is known for lip-syncing. She wanted to make an acoustic-type pop album in 2006 titled Original Doll and reinvent herself using her real voice. The album was shelved and canceled once her label realized she would be singing in her real voice. She isn't allowed to sing live because she will either fail terribly or she'll have to sing in her deep voice that she isn't known for. Her entire career, she has been treated like a product meant to sell. Okay, anything to add thus far, Cory?
No.
Okay.
Very interesting, though.
Now for the real tea. Everyone remembers everyone remembers the 2007 meltdown. Everyone. Leading up to the mental breakdown, Britney was going through a public divorce, had 2 children under the age of 2 at the time, and was very much the focus of the public. We all saw her on every magazine cover. We all also saw the photo of her with one of her kids on her lap while driving. Go on YouTube once and look up Britney Spears paparazzi. You'll watch her be chased and followed by hundreds of them, even trying to get into a public restroom to photograph her, videotaping her in tears, asking them to leave her alone, and even filming her through the windows of an ambulance while she was naked being taken away for her final mental health hold. After the public meltdown, shaving her head, locking herself in her home with her children, speaking in a British accent on a regular basis, wearing the infamous pink wig everywhere, and shopping naked, she was hospitalized twice. After the hospitalization, her father petitioned courts to be a temporary conservator to her until she was mentally stable and for only 1 year's time. 2 months after her hospitalization, she did a guest appearance on How I Met Your Mother. 6 months after her hospitalization, she drops the Womanizer video and starts to promote her new album Circus with its worldwide tour that grossed $131.8 million. If she's so unwell, why did she start working right away? Well, we're getting into the tea here, Cory.
Okay, all right, I'm with you.
Are you with me here? Are you with me?
I'm with you.
Her father, after 1 year, petitioned the courts for the conservatorship to become permanent due to her allegedly having early onset dementia in her 20s. It passed, and it has been that way ever since, for 12 years to be exact. Now, for everyone that doesn't understand what that means, let me break it down for you. Britney Spears is now 38 years old, who is not allowed to do the following without her father's permission: or he can legally lock her up in a mental health facility. She cannot drive a car, vote, get married, have children, spend her own money, see how her money is being spent, see her children, leave her home, hire her own lawyer, have any control over her career, speak about the conservatorship publicly, do interviews that aren't scripted and all final cuts are approved by her father as well, use a cell phone without being monitored, use social media unmonitored, contact anyone without being monitored or having them extremely vetted, go shopping, go for a walk, get Starbucks. A conservatorship is meant for people with mental health issues or decaying health, most likely grandparents or people with actual dementia, etc. They are meant for people who literally cannot take care of themselves. If she was so unwell that she isn't mentally capable of doing anything for herself, why is she still working? Since the conservatorship began 12 years ago, she has released 4 albums, done 3 worldwide tours, did a 4-year Vegas residency, was a full-time judge on X Factor, released multiple perfumes and lingerie lines, made $138 million or so a year. Yeah, this keeps going for a while. I can keep going if you want.
Yeah, that's up to you.
Let's keep going. In January of last year, Britney was placed in a mental health facility for 3 months after being seen driving her car to an In-N-Out with her boyfriend without permission, and for refusing to take the sedating medications her father has doctors prescribing her to keep her under control. She testified to a judge in documents that she was held there against her will by her father. After it was leaked to the press that she was there against her will, the Free Britney movement picked up speed, causing a judge to open an investigation into the impact and legality her conservatorship has on her life. Britney's mother, Lynn, was also liking and commenting on Free Britney posts, saying she agrees that Britney is trapped by her father. Britney's team had Twitter disabled for the Free Britney hashtag and regularly threatens any celebrity that speaks out using the hashtag with a lawsuit if they don't remove their support for the movement. She was seen shortly after leaving a hotel through the front door. 99% of celebrities park underground to avoid paparazzi unless they want to be photographed, stumbling while carrying her shoes and out of it. Her team used that moment to justify to the public that she needs this conservatorship. She is not allowed to have any say in the hiring or firing of anyone on her team. Every year she pays $1.1 million in fees for the conservatorship to continue, including paying her father a solid $100K plus salary and paying a lawyer she isn't allowed to choose. She is allowed an allowance of around $1,500 a week for bills, shopping, and essentials. Her net worth is $250 million. So when everyone sees her on Instagram walking up and down her hallways like it's a fashion show, that's all she is allowed to do. She has never had control over her life. I don't care if you personally like her music or not. No one deserves this. All this woman wants is to see her children, make the music she wants to make, and go get her frappuccino in her own car. She is a light of sunshine in this world, and we must protect her at all costs.
What is the source of this? Where are you taking this from?
So, I mean, this is a post on Reddit coming from several different sources. Who knows if any of it's bullshit? Her dad does, in fact, have a conservatorship. You can look that up online.
Yeah.
Her mom, I double checked a lot of those facts, and most of them seem to be true. So, what are your thoughts? Long post. I've never read that much on this show, so
and I take everything from Reddit with a grain of salt
for sure,
because you never really know truly. But I was making some notes while you were reading that.
Sure.
This woman has lived a prime life. Her entire life. She doesn't know what it's like to be a real human being. Another example of that would be the Jacksons. The Jacksons from birth. They have no idea what it's like to be a human being. They are a machine. They are
Would you call it a prime life?
A primed life. A life that has probably had very little worries that haven't been manufactured. But they don't have
I'd like to push back on that, but go ahead.
They don't have worries that you and I have. They don't share the same level or the same kind of worries that you and I have.
Well, just because their worries are different doesn't mean they're any less valid.
Right. I'm not saying that they're not valid worries, but I'm saying that when you live a prime life, you don't have everyday worries that you and I have. She doesn't have to punch a clock every day. She doesn't have a boss that she has to appease every day.
Seems like her father's her boss.
Well, her father made himself her boss. And when you have someone from a child star, sounds like a typical child star's adult life. We have so many. Dustin Diamond, we could probably rip his life apart as well. Todd Bridges, we know what the hell's been going on with him. The red-faced boy from the Partridge Family. He's fucked up from the floor up too. Well, you know what I mean? When it comes to child stars, you have to, yes, their problems are problems, but one thing that I can say for this whole situation, Britney could have walked away from all of this at any time.
Could she have?
And she continued to. I believe she could have. Dude, how many stars do you know have just walked away?
But like, listen, man, when you were being sheltered, like it's like growing up in a cult. You have no control over that. And then even when you're old enough to leave the cult, you're not going to leave the cult because you don't know any better. She was 4 years old. Probably sexually abused her whole fucking life.
Whatever that's called, where Stockholm syndrome. Okay, so maybe she has Stockholm syndrome.
Correct.
Well, then if that's the case, then Britney fans need to understand that and just ride the wave with her.
Well, but at this point, it seems like it's gone beyond Stockholm syndrome. She's literally a prisoner at this point.
She's 38. She's a prisoner on her own will. She's 38. Did you not
get the point where her dad has conservatorship over her?
Well, then she needs. Then how do you get out of that? You prove
you don't.
That the conservatorship doesn't need to be there. If
but
she's
like,
not, but
like
dude,
her dad decides her
own
own lawyers.
If her, dude, there's a way around everything. If she really wanted out of it, she could get out of it.
I don't know, man. When there's that much money involved, like,
but she's got that much further reach than her father does, and she's got the power of her mother behind her.
How do we know that?
Too?
Just because we see her in the public eye?
How do we know
that
any
she
of
can't
this?
post things without like being seen. And
well,
how do we?
There's a lot of celebrities that probably should have somebody looking over what
Donald
they post
Trump
on social media. Yeah, what they post on social media. But dude, I have a hard time not believing that she can't get out of this, even at a 38 year. And the people that are around her, she's dating Cody Simpson. You know what I mean? He's got a train wreck life as well.
I don't even know who that is, really.
He's from one of the singing groups or something like that. But she's surrounding herself by people that aren't pulling her ear and saying, Britney, you can get from under your father's thumb if you do this, you know what I mean? Well, Kevin Federline, where has he been in this whole equation as well?
Well, if you look up Kevin Federline, we all gave him shit for a long time, but it seems like he's
the most sensible one, apparently.
Well, it seems like, well, yeah, but like he's taken the kids and is taking care of them. And I'm sure he would agree that what's going on is fucked up.
Let me ask you this, Jake.
Sure.
What makes Britney so different? This is something that's happening with hundreds of thousands of families across the world. The only reason why this is a big hashtag Free Britney is because she's Britney Spears.
Sure.
You don't think that there are other people that are everyday
Yeah, but that's not what we're talking about, Cory. Like, come on.
Everyday
There's also kids in Africa, like, dying of being hungry. Yeah, of
but
course.
I'm saying that the Free Britney hashtag is just because she's Britney Spears.
But listen,
she can
Cory,
do whatever
I
she
can
wants.
chew gum and walk at the same time. I can have more than one concern. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I understand what you're saying. We're only giving validity to this because she's Britney Spears.
No, that's not the whole thing. It's like, if you see injustice, you should point it out.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, we wouldn't be talking about it if it wasn't Britney Spears, but I think the only reason this can happen is because Britney Spears is worth $300 million, and they're basically tormenting this human being, allegedly, that to just make them more and more money. Like, she's a slave to the system, basically.
That's the there are stars out there that dude, how often,
and this could be a starting point to expose the entire industry.
It could very well be, because how many times you hear a singer or a performing artist that is in Hollywood and they don't have their masters. I think one of the I can't remember. I think I want to say India Ari. That might not be proper, but I want to say India Ari is in a battle right now. But the thing is that yes, these people are it may appear to us Joe Schmoes that they're being held captive and they're being abused, but they're also living a life that that most of the population in the world will never have the opportunity to live. So there is a payoff to them selling them.
We don't know that.
No, we don't. But I'm saying there still is a level of lifestyle that they're able to live because of the fact that they've sold their soul.
She was 4 years old, Cory. You can't say she didn't have consent to quote unquote sell her soul. She was 4 years old, and they've been This is my biggest problem with Hollywood, is child stars. Anytime I see a kid in a movie, I get extremely uncomfortable, because I'm like, there's no. First of all, kids shouldn't be working. First and foremost, like, kids shouldn't be working. And second of all, it's like, you don't know how much abuse is happening to these kids, and I feel like this is just a starting point. And you could look at Justin Bieber, and Justin Bieber, yes, was smarter than Britney Spears, because I think his mom tried to do the same thing, and he quickly went, "No, fuck you, mom," and got his own manager, and quickly moved on. I think the importance of Free Britney, first of all, she's a human life, and just because she's famous, we shouldn't ignore it. Like, that's dumb. But second of all, I think it's like a starting point to reveal, like, if this is happening to Britney, what else is happening? That's happening,
what else
like
is
you
happening
said, right in front of our eyes.
Are you saying what else is happening to Britney, or what else is happening in Hollywood that's this systemic control?
Sure, yeah, exactly.
Dude, I see what you're saying, but there's a payoff. Yeah, at 4 years old,
the payoff is $1,500 a week.
4 years old, that's her father's doing. 4 years old, she couldn't have sold her soul to the devil. It would have been on her parents. Her parents were greedy and wanted her to continue to get out there and shake her rump.
Correct.
And smile and be cute. And then Disney got involved. And then before you know it, it was just a lifestyle. Parents and everybody got ready. And as she grew up, she started to, probably have some mental problems or whatever like that. The typical story of a child star. But dude, Todd Bridges out of the Hollywood limelight. Dustin Diamond out of the Hollywood limelight. Unfortunately, he did porn, but out of the Hollywood limelight. And those were child too,
isn't he?
I probably so. I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if he is. But there's a payoff, dude. Britney is under this big, immense thumb of her father in a palatial estate in the Hollywood Hills.
I hear what you're saying. I do hear what you're saying.
And I hear what you're saying too. And maybe I'm hoping that maybe you're right. Maybe this will be the tip of the iceberg for this systemic problem that's happening in Hollywood. You know what I mean? But you can't negate the payoff. You can't negate the lifestyle that she has been able to lead up to the fact of her father doing what he did. And I think there are some things that her father did that are a little scummy.
Money is and riches and living in a nice house, that is so minuscule to what life actually is. And
yeah, and they don't and you think she understands that being
that's
a
what
star
I'm saying.
from 4
Like,
years old?
just because she
doesn't.
can live in like a nice house, we don't know what the circumstances are, and the fact that like she potentially can never leave her house, she can't do anything on her own free will. Like, that's fucked up, man. And like,
She's a
I'd rather
puppet.
live the life that I'm living, which is a broke ass dude who has to like live with his sister. Like, I'd rather live this life where I'm barely hanging on, like literally my car could break down tomorrow and I'd be fucked. I'd rather live this life than have to be a prisoner.
Well, yeah, I think if you weigh that up against anybody, anybody's bad situation, the Hollywood for years has
and
had,
not to mention, you know, I mentioned it earlier, but like, who knows the amount of sexual abuse, mental abuse that happened to her while she was a child, and potentially still to this day.
we will possibly never know. But Hollywood for years, man. Look at Epstein. Hollywood for years has always had a dark corner. And maybe now, with it being the way that society is now, a little light is starting to be shown into that Hollywood corner, into that darkness of Hollywood. But you can't say that there hasn't. You can't overlook the fact that there have been beneficial moments through what we may deem as pain. She's benefited from this at some point, and continues to benefit from it at some level.
I don't know.
Millions and
sure,
millions of
but
people
like,
knowing her name, millions in gold records, awards. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that she's
that
also
shit's
gained
meaningless, though.
through all of this.
Shit's
And it may
meaningless.
be meaningless, but if it was meaningless, no one in their right mind would have continued to continue to do this.
Like I said, I mean, just look at Jonestown, dude. You think all of those people were saying, no, they were just brainwashed. Like it's, you can't blame the members of a cult. You have to blame the cult. And
so are you blaming Hollywood?
Yes.
But Hollywood but because Britney was involved in Hollywood, we've got some amazing hits, whether they were her voice or not.
Sure.
We've benefited from whatever the pain is, dude. It's just like everything. I mean, what's the dancer, Paula Abdul? Paula Abdul has gone on record to saying that when she was younger and she was the hottest and at the peak of her career, she danced and it was in pain, and she kept touring and she kept touring and she kept touring through all of that pain and everything else. She had a payoff. No pain, no gain. And unfortunately,
what's her payoff,
that's
dude?
the notoriety, the money, the success. There's no, dude, it's the Hollywood machine. I guess I just see it differently. It's just
But
the
like,
Hollywood
this
machine,
shit
bro.
is meaningless.
It may seem meaningless, but clearly, if it was totally meaningless, it wouldn't have continued on.
Well, because the people at the top are making tons of money off of these people.
And they're funneling some of that down to her. And what the people at the top are not making are the people at the top do not have people saying their name, do not have people chasing their tour buses.
That's a benefit,
do not have,
in my opinion.
That's what you gain from all of this. Then that's what Britney and
it
anybody in
right
Hollywood
here.
gains.
It's at like beginning of the thing where it's like she couldn't even escape the paparazzi. Like, this is a huge issue within all of Hollywood, because like Hollywood reporting, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hollywood reporting sucks, and let me tell you why. Because journalism, even if it is entertainment journalism, shouldn't be run this way. It shouldn't be about what's going on in these actors' private lives, because that's none of our business. What should be happening is people actually doing real reporting, like, hey, what are the work conditions like? What are, the bad things that are, like, investigative journalism? Like, that should be happening. Like, if you look at video games journalism, right? Some of it is reviews and stuff, which is the same with movies. That's important. I think that's all fair game. You like movies, you want to talk about movies. That's cool. But another big part of like video games journalism recently, a big thing with video games journalism is the talk of crunch, and how these studios are overworking their employees rather, and it's a not healthy work environment. It's abusive. These people can't leave these studios because if they leave their studios, they're going to get blacklisted from the gaming industry. It's like, these are the things that are more important to talk about than, you know, what's going on with Britney and Kevin Federline. But for whatever reason, and I understand it's partially us to blame as well, because, you know, we love to click on that shit and we love to read that shit.
Right.
But
TMZ wouldn't be TMZ if they didn't have the viewership. It would go away.
Yeah.
And you know what? I'm going to say this about the paparazzi, and this is a 100% fact. Any celebrity knows how to avoid the paparazzi. The paparazzi hang out in certain areas, specifically LA, Hollywood, Beverly Hills. They hang out in certain areas knowing that if the celebrity knows that that's a paparazzi heavy area, so they go there knowing they're going to be exposed. So when it comes to the paparazzi,
sometimes,
and you're right. Sometimes they do go a little bit too far, and we've seen that as well. But for the most part, there's a way to get around paparazzi. I've talked to celebrities that live in LA County, and they know all of the paparazzi hotspots. And if you've got shit going on in your life, you avoid those hotspots.
Sure. But, like, you know, if you're Britney Spears or Michael Jackson, they don't give a shit about the hotspots. They're like, hey, I heard Britney Spears is over here. You know, you're going to go over there.
Yeah, but
you know, this is all just part of the problem. But, like, it wouldn't be an issue if we had actual journalism happening and, like, people actually reporting on the real issues. That's what I'm doing right now, Cory. God damn it!
That's what you're doing right now. But real journalism doesn't sell, baby. Real journalism doesn't get top bill.
Just because Britney is rich, and just because Britney has, you know, probably a 70-inch flat screen TV or whatever.
That's probably wall to wall.
Yeah, or, you know, she probably has her own theater room and, like, a really amazing pool and a gym or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It really doesn't change the fact that she's a human being. And,
no,
you know, if a human being is being abused, we should address it.
But she may have lost her own humanity as well. She may not even be in touch with her own human. She may look at herself as a machine. Because, dude, if you have a kid that's in the limelight,
that's a problem in and of itself, and we should address that too.
Exactly, it's the same thing that you can say about the Jacksons. It's the same thing that you can say about
and
the
what happened to
Osmonds.
Michael Jackson? Horrible. The dude was
absolutely Same thing with Janet. Same thing with LaToya. You can go down the whole lineage, and then you see it repeating with Michael Jackson's children. Maybe it is a part of the machine. Maybe we don't need to let kids into Hollywood that early. Maybe if we have a project or a movie or a TV show where it requires kids, maybe we need to start CGIing them, those little bastards, into these things. Who knows?
Sure.
But they continue on through it. And I mean, if you dig through the root of all of this Free Britney thing, I can't see anybody else at the bottom where it all started other than their parents. Her parents are responsible for this whole entire thing, because when they started to see it out of control before she hit 18, they should have stepped in and intervened. They shouldn't have had to step in and intervene when she was 20.
Sure.
They let it get too far, so they had the green-eyed monster.
Well, parents are to blame, especially in this case. You know, obviously Britney's dad is horrible.
I hear I've heard a lot of stories that he's a real dick. He's a big piece of work.
Yeah, and he's also her guardian, so, like, that's pretty fucked. Obviously in this case, you know, her parents, or at least her dad, are a huge contributor, but, you know, you hear a lot, you know, even with, like, Michael Jackson, not what happened to Michael Jackson, but, like, the kids that Michael Jackson allegedly abused. You know, most of these parents were just like, that's Michael Jackson. We should be able to trust him. Like, it's fine. Like, it's not even an issue. So I think most of the time, it's like these parents are just kind of blind to what's actually going on, because they're like, I see money. If you have money, you're probably not a bad guy, which isn't true.
No, never the case. And you said in that article, Britney Spears was given a $1,500 a week allowance.
Yeah.
That's $78,000 a year, and her father is pulling down the $100,000 salary.
Sure, but her net worth is $250 million. If you think
No, I'm saying that it's her father is putting her on a salary that's less than his.
Yeah. Well, and he's probably taken in a lot more than that.
I would imagine so.
Yeah.
Or maybe he's just hoping that she'll kill herself and then he gets everything.
True.
Maybe he's that sick, twisted, demented, fucked up dude. I mean, it's just like people can even look back to the Jacksons and look at Mama Jackson and the late great Joe Jackson. You know, people can look back at that and say those they should have pulled the plug and snatched Michael by
Joe
his
Jackson.
Yeah, Joe Jackson's School of Hard Knocks, where if you missed a move, he bust you in your skin. You know what I mean? But maybe people could look back at Michael Jackson's parents and said as soon as he started, changing his face, somebody could have pulled his ear. But they probably were lapping in the money, doing laps in the pool in the Scrooge McDuck vault.
Yeah, it's a whole systemic thing, because like even...
But it's Hollywood, man. You sell parts, you give up damn near everything to be successful in Hollywood. Yeah. And some people are willing to do that.
Yeah, but that shouldn't be the way it is.
That shouldn't be the way that it is, but man, that's the way the machine has been running for.
Well, and it'll never change unless we bring up these issues.
Yeah, I don't think it will ever change. Hollywood. Not that it's just too powerful. It's just that there would be just so much that we would lose. I mean, look at how many of these Hollywood stars are starlets that are starting to just fall to the wayside. Ellen DeGeneres. She had a hashtag that was tweeting RIP Ellen DeGeneres, and she's healthy and well, but because of the fact that people started revealing how much of a monster she was.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, you're talking about America's aunt.
Well, it's hard to feel sympathy for Ellen because it's hard
to feel sympathy for anybody in Hollywood, man.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to feel sympathy for anybody in Hollywood.
I hear what you're saying, but then also, there's also Harvey Weinstein, which...
Right. That also, he was disgusting, deplorable human being. And I hate that I have to say this, but he was also responsible for a lot of people's careers that are still floating around today.
Yeah, but
it sucks, and it makes I have a bad taste in my mouth just saying that. But that motherfucker, who I hope is rotting in hell at this moment, unfortunately, he has that mantle of being responsible for some people's careers.
Yeah, I mean, that's just the way it is, right? I mean, there's always going to be bad people at the top, and
always going to be.
But then you also have to think about like Harvey Weinstein. Imagine all the people he abused that didn't make it, and he just
didn't make it.
That happens too to like kids. Britney is just an example of someone who made it, and this is a horrible scenario that she's in. Obviously, even if some of the facts aren't true. Mm-hmm. There's no way to slice it that it's not a great situation that she's in.
Jake, I've even been there on a very small scale myself, personally.
Yeah.
Seriously. On my own scale, where I was doing R&B music at a young age, and I had a manager that was literally throwing every piece of equipment I wanted at me. I was driving a different car every other week. And to be a 17, 18-year-old that had over 6 figures in his bank account, but then yet was scared of this man and didn't realize that I was scared of this man. This man ruined my relationship between me and my mother, because I had to keep lying to her and falsifying and telling her that I had a part-time job when I was actually on planes flying out to LA and singing in clubs that I wasn't even old enough to get into. I know a little bit of how that machine works and how abusive it can be. And then when I tried to walk away from this guy, he damn near wanted to beat my ass in the parking lot of a place that I had just performed in. Took all my equipment out of my trunk and flung it. I mean, we're talking about Korg keyboards, man, just flung across the parking lot of this place. I know a little bit of that pain on a very small scale, and it's part of the machine. But what was the payoff that I had experienced, and why I kept continuously, subconsciously masking the obvious abuse that I was going through, I enjoyed the money. I enjoyed the notoriety. This motherfucker even changed my name.
Listen, like when you're in an abusive relationship, there's a thing that happens when you're in an abusive relationship. First of all, you don't blame the person being abused.
Nope.
Which is kind of what you're doing now.
I'm not blaming the person that's I'm not in totality blaming
because
the person.
Listen, what happens when you're in an abusive relationship? This person will beat you to a pulp, and then the next day they'll take you on a shopping spree, or do something you really want to do, watch a movie with you, really show you affection. That's the fundamental signs of abuse. It doesn't make it okay that you are,
No. I've been there.
Yeah.
I've had that happen. I know that. And I blamed myself for a while. But then at the end of it, when I did get out of it, dude, I realized that I was part to blame anyway. Because I was still taking the money. I was still driving the cars. I still wanted a piece of I still wanted what I was being given, even though it was coming through a channel of pain and abuse. I still wanted that.
Right. Well, everyone wants
I
money,
dealt with it.
But you should be allowed to make that money doing what you're doing
without
and not
the
being
abuse.
abused. Like
100%.
I don't know the point you're trying to make right now. I really don't.
The point that I'm trying to make is that I've been there, and I'm not saying that I'm not completely dismissing everything that Britney's father has done to Britney, but I'm saying that Britney does have some level of control if she wanted to.
It sounds like she has no control at all.
It got a little bit further because it got into the courts allegedly.
For 12 years, Cory.
But I'm parlaying what I went to into Britney's earlier years.
Sure.
Where she accepted the abuse because
when she was 4 years old.
It came with the, I'm talking about later on in her life, not at 4 years old.
Her dad was her manager the whole time. Like,
okay, I'm trying to give you my
I know what you're trying to do, but I'm pushing back because I don't see it.
Do you know what I'm trying to do, or don't you know what I'm trying to do? Because just a few minutes ago you said that you don't know what point I'm trying to make, and then I'm trying to explain to you what point I'm trying to make.
I don't know, man. It's shitty.
It's
Hollywood's
let me tell you
shitty,
this, dude.
and it shouldn't be.
Hollywood is totally shitty.
Because I love art. I love movies. I love music. I love games. And it sucks that these things are tainted with this like level of nastiness on top. Why can people not just create the art they want to make? I remember when Napster happened, right? And
the music sharing platform.
Yeah, and Metallica came out and they're like, fuck Napster, because it's gonna hurt, the revenue streams. And it's like, you know what? Maybe musicians should make less. So then, we'll have less big stars. Sure, we won't have Britney Spears. But we'll have more music and more people outputting art. I look at it as a good thing. Everything that's happening now with the music industry, as far as like Spotify and shit, and like how everyone's like, well, we're not making money anymore. It's not the little guys that are complaining about it. It's the top guys, because the little guys are like, we're getting more exposure than ever. And
yeah, we deal with it on our level. I mean, I deal with it all the time with fake copyright hits on YouTube. Facebook is afraid of anybody that is airing any type of music. We deal with it on our level. From a consumer level, those worries and angst and insecurities drizzle down to us. When you put a video up that you worked hard on and then it gets ripped down because it had a rhythmic pattern that sounds similar to someone else's copywritten rhythmic pattern.
Yeah. Well, and I'm not saying people should like steal things. Definitely don't do that. But
I didn't say that either.
I know. I'm just clarifying. I didn't say you said that. I'm just clarifying. Like, stealing is still bad. Don't steal people's stuff. But like, I don't know. It's like, these streaming platforms are good for everyone, and like maybe Hollywood shouldn't be making $250 million movies.
Never gonna happen. It's been you're asking Hollywood. Expecting Hollywood to change is like expecting politics to become fair.
Yeah, well,
you're asking for the moon, baby boy, and all you're really gonna get is just some old fat hairy dude pulling down his pants and showing you his ass.
Yeah,
that's literally all you're gonna get.
Yeah, it sucks though. Well, and
it totally sucks.
I think it's okay to spotlight it, and I don't think it's fair
100%.
to say it'll never change. Maybe not in my lifetime, but I'd hope one day.
Yeah, and then Hollywood it'll change when Hollywood becomes all CGI. And everything is computer generated
and made by children in sweatshops.
Viacom.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I didn't mean for this to get so contentious at the end.
It's good radio, though.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, we've hit that mark. I've actually enjoyed talking about this.
Yeah, it's always a good thing because that's one thing that we do very well is that we can have two different views and I don't think I've ever shared publicly the abusive situation that I was in when I was doing R&B at a very young age. I don't think I've ever gone on record to share that with anybody.
Yeah.
And it may be because there are some still residual fears of retaliation from that individual because that individual is still out there and doing what he does. And it was a very toxic situation that cost me a lot of my young adolescent life. Well, not adolescence. I was an adult, 17, 18, 19. Cost me a lot of time with family and living years of lies and deceit. People thinking that I had a part-time job and I wasn't. I mean, this motherfucker would literally write notes as my parents and send them to my school to get me out of school so I could go work. You know what I mean? The Hollywood machine is a tough-ass machine. It's a jealous machine. It's a choosy machine, and it's a dark machine. And unfortunately, when the machine gets completely out of control, you do have situations like Britney Spears.
Yeah, and it's good to talk about them.
It's always good to talk.
So, that being said, we've come to the end of the show. We've reached that moment.
I've been watching some new kind of porn.
Oh yeah.
Oh, we're out of time. Oh, I'm so sorry.
Oh, we could keep going if we're going to talk about porn. The porn industry's fucked up too.
Yeah, the porn industry is built on being fucked up.
Join us next week when we talk about the porn industry. Check out the Loner Gamecast every Tuesday. Comes out the day after this show is dropped.
I'm not saying anything else about Nick Sapon anymore. Never again. No more. Not in. Check out the cast.
Yeah, Loner Gamecast. This week we're talking about the Xbox event that is happening this Thursday. We're gonna make some predictions, other news and junk and garbage like that. Keep an eye out on the channel for other cool things that are potentially coming. Thanks for joining us. That's been the show. Bye-bye.
I don't like your endings.
Oh, I don't like you.
Mine were better. 5, 6, 7, 8.